Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Review, where we take a look at tech tips and how-to videos. Today we are going to be redoing my network setup, and we are going to be setting up a business class network. And you'd be surprised at how low cost setting up a business class network really is. For all the supplies that I purchased, it came up to under 500 bucks. Now there are a lot of extra things that I bought that you don't have to, because remember, when you're setting up a business class network, you can either go full business, or you can just take the best parts of a business class network, which is like a switch, a router, and a really good Ethernet wire. So I mean, there's so much products out there that you can shop around and possibly purchase cheaper than what I purchased it for. And like I mentioned earlier, a nice mesh router costs anywhere between $250 to $300, and it only takes care of your wireless connection. Let me show you all the products that I bought. So to start off, we have the access point, the wireless access point, and I'm using the Link AC1750. Now the reason why I went with the 1750 and not the cheaper 1350 is because the 5 gigahertz on this is rated at a higher speed. It's 1300 on this. For the 1350, it's 867 megabits per second. So that's one of the main reasons I was going with this, and it wasn't that much more expensive. I think it was $20 more than the 1350. But for now, I think I only need one. However, if you need two, you can purchase two and put them where you need it in your house. That's the best part about setting up a business class network is it's customizable, and you can add as many access points, switches, all those kind of things. You can do the same thing with an expensive router, but like I said, building your own from scratch is just much more fun. You can brag about it. So that's the access point. This is just what is this? This is the patch panel. You don't need this. This is strictly just for organizing your wires. So yeah, don't need it. I purchased it because I like to be organized. Next, we have some wall plates. These are single Keystone wall plates. There's also 4 Keystone wall plates that I have. I think it's in another box, but yeah, I picked up single and I picked up quad, I guess you would call them. We have Netgear Switch. This is GS316. I picked this up when it was on sale. I think I picked it up for about $60. This roughly goes between 85 and 90, I think. Yeah. So that's our switch. I also have a cabinet for all the stuff. I'll show you a picture right here. So this is just gonna, again, this is not necessary, but I want everything to be as organized as possible, so that's why I purchased it. And the vein of my business class network is the True Cable Cat 6 Ethernet wire, 1,000 feet. This wire is pretty pricey. It's about $140. But the reason why it is $140 is because this is 100% bare copper. Now there is something called copper clad aluminum, and it's pretty much just a copper coating on the wire, so it's not as rigid, it's not as durable as this wire, and they're cheap. You can pick a box of 1,000 feet for 50 bucks, and you're like, ooh, I can run this through my entire house. The only problem with that, it's aluminum cable with copper coating. Things can happen down the line, and wire, in my opinion, wires are one of those things that you don't want to fail on you, because if it fails, then you have to rerun a new wire. So that's why I went with 100% copper and a Cat 6. I went with Cat 6 because of the speed. So according to TripLight, the Cat 5e wire has a max speed of 1 gigabit per second. The Cat 6 has a max speed of 10 gigabit per second. This wire is a lot faster than Cat 5e. Again, it's copper and it's not copper clad aluminum. So if you're shopping for wires, be sure to stay clear of the copper clad aluminum. And that does it for all the stuff that I have for the business class network. Let's go ahead and start the installation. So the first thing I did to start off this project was build my network cabinet. And as you can see from the pictures, I got a pretty large cabinet. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted room to expand. This cabinet cost $160, but if you're looking for a smaller one, there is a NavePoint 6U cabinet that costs $125. That's a lot smaller than this one. So here's my current setup. Right now the AT&T optical network terminal and the AT&T modem are outside, and then there's a wire coming from the wall that's plugged into the modem. That wire leads into the network closet where my wireless router is. So we're going to move all that into the network closet. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this wire that I previously ran and replace it with some new solid copper wiring. So fishing the wire through is very simple. I'm just going to tie it onto the old wire, and then I'm going to go in the attic and slowly pull up the old wire, and it will pull up the new wire as I'm pulling it through the attic. So while in the attic, I'm going to go ahead and pull that new wire and drop it down the opening that I have in the attic that leads to my network closet. Then I'm going to come back down into my network closet and pull it through. While I'm here, I'm also going to clean up this big mess. There's a huge mess that I currently have. There's wires everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and pull all this stuff out and just keep what we need. That old cabinet that came with the house did have a power outlet on it on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out and reinstall it so I can have it working with the new cabinet. And now I'm going to cut the wire that I just ran, and I'm going to install a Keystone on it. This port is for the AT&T optical network terminal. It's going to plug into the port and then run into the closet where I can plug in the modem. And now that I have a Keystone on the wire, I'm going to go ahead and install a proper wall plate that will fit the Keystone. And again, this port leads into the closet where the modem will plug into. And now I'm going to start working on my entertainment center. I have multiple devices and I would like them all to be plugged into a port. So I'm going to run 4 lines and then install Keystones and then install a 4 wall plate port. Now the tricky part about running 4 lines is that I only had 1 box of wire, Cat 6 wire, but I did have a box of Cat 5e wire, so I made the decision to use both wires, so I only have to make 2 trips. I can run 2 wires at a time. Next, I started working on the office. Now I only needed 2 ports, so I only needed to run 2 wires. So I used again the Cat 6 and the Cat 5e. This turned out to be very messy because this was an insulated wall and there was a lot of insulation in there. And then also I had problems getting the wire through the attic. But eventually I was able to figure it out and I was able to run both lines and install Keystones and a wall plate. And the final room to install ports was the theater room, which is upstairs. This one was also a doozy trying to get the wire through the second attic, because remember, it's upstairs. I have a 1-bedroom home, but I do have a bonus room upstairs, which is now the theater room. So getting the wire from the bonus room attic into the house attic was quite a experience. But I mean, this was the hardest part of the whole project, running the wires. Everything else was a breeze. And so now all the ports are installed. The next thing is to test each port to make sure they're working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my tester into the theater room port and make sure it's working. And then I'm going to go upstairs and test the port. And what I want to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 light up. As you can see, it's going 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. It's not supposed to do that, so I punched it incorrectly. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix it real quick and then give it another test. And hopefully it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like it should. Moment of truth. Let's give it a test. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. We're all good. And now to complete the installation with a nice 2-port wall plate. And I'm going to label it so it's easy to troubleshoot later on. Alright, so now that all the ports are installed and the wires ran into the network closet, it's time to put this behemoth onto the wall and run the wires through it. As you can see, I have the patch panel on the top and then my network switch is on the bottom. So mounting the cabinet was pretty straightforward. It's actually very easy. The problem that I ran into is that I did not have any studs where I wanted to put the cabinet. So I had to come up with a brace between the studs so I can install the cabinet. And here I'm just testing and finalizing the installation of the patch wires that are going from the patch panel to the switch. And here are the final results. So as you can see, the optical network terminal is going to the port that we installed. It's going to plug into that port, and that port leads to the network closet, which is up this wall, across the attic, and into the closet in the master bedroom, which is dubbed the network closet. And then into the cabinet. The same goes for all the devices behind the TV. The ports lead up the wall, across the attic, and over the master bedroom closet, where it comes down and leads into the network cabinet, where you will find the AT&T modem and also my TP-Link access point. And this is how I labeled my patch panel. AT&T in is obviously the optical network terminal. LR1 is living room 1. LR2 is living room 2. TR is theater room. And office is O. So yeah, I mean, it is very simple to label them. And like I said, it makes it easier to troubleshoot in later down the line when you have a problem. You can easily identify the ports from the network closet if one of your ports go out. And that does it for this video. Here's a network cabinet at the end of the project with everything installed. As you can see, it's pretty filled, and I do intend to fill it even more. But if you found this video helpful, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't and found it terrible, thumbs down work also. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you in the next one. Peace.